Story 1. I've been working as a property manager at this upscale apartment complex for about 3 years now. It's honestly been a pretty decent gig. The pay is solid, the residents are mostly respectful, and I get to work in a beautiful building with all the modern amenities you could think of. I handle everything from maintenance requests to resident complaints, and part of my job involves being visible around the property during peak hours. That's why I'm often in the lobby or common areas, making sure everything runs smoothly. Last Tuesday started like any other day. I had just finished dealing with a plumbing issue on the 4th floor and was heading back down to my office in the lobby. I stepped into the elevator on the 4th floor, and that's when she walked in right behind me. She was probably in her mid-50s, dressed in what looked like expensive clothes, carrying designer bags, the whole 9 yards. She walked in with this air of superiority that I've unfortunately become familiar with in this line of work. Some people think that because they pay high rent, they're entitled to treat staff like servants. The elevator doors closed, and I pressed the button for the lobby. That's when things got weird. "Karen, excuse me, I need to go to the 9th floor." I looked at her, then at the button panel. It was right next to her, easily within arm's reach. "Me, the button panel is right there next to you." "Karen, I know where it is. I'm telling you I need to go to the 9th floor." I was confused for a second, thinking maybe she had some kind of physical limitation that prevented her from pressing the button herself. I've dealt with residents who have arthritis or other conditions before, and I'm always happy to help. "Me, are you unable to press it yourself? I can help if you need assistance." "Karen, I shouldn't have to press it myself. That's what people like you are for." People like me. I felt my jaw tighten, but I kept my composure. This was clearly going to be one of those interactions. "Me, I'm sorry, but I'm not an elevator operator. The buttons are self-service for all residents and staff. You're welcome to press the button for your floor." She stared at me like I just insulted her entire family lineage. "Karen, this is absolutely ridiculous. I pay a premium to live here, and I expect a certain level of service. Press the button." "Me, I'm not pressing the button. You have 2 perfectly functional hands. Use them." I could see her face turning red. The elevator was still descending toward the lobby, since that was the only floor I'd selected. "Karen, I'm going to report you to management. This is unacceptable. You're being incredibly rude and unprofessional." "Me, I am management. I'm the property manager. And I'm telling you that pressing elevator buttons is not part of anyone's job description here, including mine." She looked shocked for a moment, but then doubled down on her attitude. "Karen, then you should know better than to treat residents this way. I'm a paying tenant, and I deserve respect." "Me, respect goes both ways. I've been nothing but professional. You're the one making unreasonable demands." The elevator reached the lobby, and the doors opened. I stepped out, ready to head to my office and put this bizarre encounter behind me. But she didn't move. She just stood there in the elevator, arms crossed, glaring at me. "Karen, I'm not leaving until someone presses my floor button." I turned around and looked at her. "Me, then I guess you're going to be there for a while. Have a nice day." I started walking toward my office, but I could still see the elevator from where I was. She just stood there. The doors closed with her still inside. A minute later, the doors opened again because no one had called the elevator and no buttons were pressed. She was still standing there, arms crossed, looking furious. This went on for a while. I checked my watch periodically while handling some paperwork at my desk. Other residents would call the elevator from other floors. The doors would close. She'd presumably ride with them, but she never got off. At one point, I saw her through the lobby security camera feed that shows the elevator interior. She was literally just standing there, refusing to press anything. After about 8 minutes of this insanity, she finally stormed out of the elevator and marched up to my office window. "Karen, this is absolutely unacceptable. I've been stuck in that elevator for almost 10 minutes because of your refusal to do your job." "Me, you've been stuck in the elevator because you refuse to press a button." That's on you, not me. Karen, I want to speak to the owner of this building. I'm going to have you fired. Me, the owner's contact information is available, and you're welcome to reach out. But I should tell you that the elevator you've been standing in for the past 8 minutes, it's been sitting in the lobby the entire time. You're on the ground floor. Your apartment is above you. I watched as the realization slowly dawned on her face. She looked back at the elevator, then at the lobby around her, then back at me. Her face went through several shades of red. Karen, well, you should have told me. Me, you were too busy making demands to notice where you were. Now, are you going to press your floor button, or are you going to stand here arguing some more? She turned on her heel without another word and stomped back to the elevator. I watched as she very deliberately pressed the button for the 9th floor, her face still burning with embarrassment. The next day, I received an email from the building's owner. Apparently, Karen had indeed filed a complaint about me, but she'd also been overheard by several other residents during her elevator standoff, and they'd sent emails praising how I handled the situation. The owner wrote that he had a good laugh about it and told me to keep up the good work. I still see Karen around the building sometimes. She presses her own elevator buttons now and won't make eye contact with me. Small victories. Story 2. I've been working at Crossroads Supermarket for about 3 years now. Started right after I dropped out of community college because my mom got sick and someone needed to help with the bills. It's not glamorous, but the pay is decent and my manager is pretty understanding when I need time off for doctor appointments. That Tuesday started like any other. I clocked in at 2 in the afternoon for the closing shift, tied on my green apron, and headed to the stockroom. My coworker from the morning shift told me we'd gotten a big delivery of refrigerated items that needed shelving, so I loaded up my cart and wheeled it out to aisle 5, the juice and dairy section. I was about halfway through restocking the orange juice when I heard footsteps approaching. Heavy, purposeful footsteps. The kind that usually meant someone was about to ask me where something was located, even though there were literally signs hanging from the ceiling. I glanced up and saw her. Middle-aged woman, designer purse, that haircut. You know the one. She was wearing sunglasses indoors and had her phone clutched in one hand like it was a weapon. I went back to my work, hoping she'd just grab what she needed and move on. She didn't. I heard the refrigerator door open behind me. Normal. Then I heard something that made me freeze. A loud gulping sound. I turned around just in time to see her lowering a carton of cranberry juice from her lips. Not a small bottle, a full-gallon carton. The same carton that had been sealed when I'd stocked it maybe 10 minutes earlier. Me, ma'am, you can't drink that here. You need to pay for it first. She looked at me like I just asked her to juggle chainsaws. Karen, excuse me. I'm a paying customer. I'm checking if it's fresh. Me, I understand. But you need to purchase items before consuming them. That's store policy. Karen, well, it's a good thing I checked because this juice is expired. She practically screamed that last word. 2 other shoppers in the aisle turned to look. I felt my face getting hot, but I kept my voice calm. Me, the juice isn't expired, ma'am. We rotate stock daily and check all dates. That delivery came in this morning. Karen, are you calling me a liar? I can taste that it's bad. My palate is very refined. She took another huge swig from the carton, and I watched in horror as she swished it around in her mouth like she was at a wine tasting. Then, in the most dramatic display I've ever witnessed, she spat the juice out. Not into her hand, not back into the carton. No, she sprayed it all over the floor, all over the shelf, and some of it even hit my apron. Karen, see? It's disgusting. I demand to speak to your manager. I could have been poisoned. By this point, we'd attracted quite a crowd. I pulled my radio from my belt. Me, manager to aisle 5, please. My manager, Stephen, arrived within a minute. He's this calm, soft-spoken guy in his 50s who's seen everything in his 20 years of retail management. Nothing rattles him. Stephen, What seems to be the problem? Karen launched into this elaborate story about how she'd barely touched the juice to test it, how it was clearly expired, and how she was going to sue the store for negligence and emotional distress. She pulled out her phone and started filming, declaring that this was going viral. Stephen just let her talk. When she finally ran out of steam, he picked up the juice carton she'd violated and examined it. "Stephen, ma'am, this juice has an expiration date of 3 weeks from today. It's perfectly fresh, and even if it weren't, you cannot open and consume products in the store without purchasing them first. That's theft." Karen, theft? Theft. I was protecting other customers. You should be thanking me. Stephen, ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. You've damaged store property, created a health hazard, and disturbed other customers. Karen, you can't kick me out. I spend thousands of dollars here. Stephen pulled out his phone and pulled up something on the screen. Stephen, according to our records, you've made 4 purchases here in the past year, totaling about $200. You're not a regular customer, and now you're trespassing. Please leave, or I'll call the police. Karen's face went through about 5 shades of red. She grabbed her purse and stormed toward the exit, but not before stopping to shout back at us. Karen, you'll regret this. I have connections. I'm posting this everywhere. Stephen, please do. We have security footage of the entire incident. She left, and Stephen turned to me. Stephen, you okay? Me, yeah, just... What the hell was that? Stephen, that was a person who's never been told no in her life. Don't worry about it. Go clean up and take 15. I'll handle the mess. Here's where it gets good. She did post about it. She posted a heavily edited video on every local community page and review site she could find, claiming we'd tried to sell her rotten juice and assaulted her when she complained. She called herself a concerned citizen and demanded justice. But she didn't count on other customers being in that aisle. 3 different people had filmed the whole thing from different angles. The real videos started circulating within hours. By the next morning, she was a full-blown meme. Someone made a compilation video of her spit take with different sound effects. Another person dubbed it over with dramatic opera music. The local news even picked it up as a bizarre retail incident. The best part? Someone found out she'd done similar things at other stores in the area. She had a whole history of this nonsense. One grocery store posted on their social media that she was banned from their location too, and they included a grainy security photo of her. Within a week, she'd been banned from literally every major supermarket in town. People started calling her the Juice Bandit. Then just Karen. The memes got more elaborate. Someone even made a parody Twitter account. Last I heard, she'd moved to a different town. But every time I stalked that juice aisle, I remember her face when Stephen pulled out those purchase records. Sometimes justice is just watching someone's tantrum blow up in their face in high definition. Story 3. I've been working as a janitor at Greenfield Grocery for about 3 years now. It's not glamorous work, but it pays the bills and my coworkers are decent people. I usually work the evening shift, which means I'm there when the store is still open, cleaning up spills and keeping the aisles tidy. Most customers don't even notice me, which is fine by me. I just do my job and go home. My manager always tells us that customer safety comes first. If someone spills something, we need to clean it up right away before anyone slips. That's what I was doing that Tuesday evening when everything went sideways. I was restocking cleaning supplies in aisle 7 when I got called over the radio. Manager, we've got a spill in aisle 3. Looks like someone dropped a jar of pickles. Me, on my way. I grabbed my broom, dustpan, and mop, then headed over. The pickle jar had shattered pretty badly, with glass and brine spread across about 6 feet of floor. I put up my caution sign and got to work sweeping up the glass first. There were a few customers in the aisle, but they just moved around me like usual. That's when she showed up. This woman, probably in her mid-40s, wearing a flowing purple dress and about 7 different crystal necklaces, came walking down the aisle. She was talking on her phone, not really paying attention to where she was going. I kept sweeping, making sure to get all the glass so nobody would get hurt. She stopped about 3 feet away from me, still on her phone, examining some jars of pasta sauce. I continued sweeping, working my way down the aisle to make sure I got every shard. I was maybe 2 feet from her when she suddenly spun around. "Karen, excuse me, excuse me." I looked up, thinking maybe I had accidentally bumped her or something. Me, "Yes, ma'am. Is everything okay?" Karen, "No, everything is not okay. You just swept near me." Me, "I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm just cleaning up some broken glass. There's a caution sign right there." Karen, "I don't care about your sign. You swept near me. You need to sweep around me, not near me." I honestly thought she was joking at first. I even smiled a little. Me, "Ma'am, I need to clean up this glass before someone gets hurt. If you could just step aside for a moment." Karen, "No, I was here first. You're invading my space." Other customers were starting to stare now. An older gentleman who had been shopping nearby gave me a sympathetic look and just shook his head. Me, "I understand, but this is a safety hazard. I just need 1 minute to." Karen, "Your broom invaded my aura. Do you even understand what you've done? I spent 45 minutes this morning cleansing my energy, and now you've completely disrupted it." I didn't know what to say to that. I just stood there holding my broom. Karen, "I can feel the negative energy coming off your cleaning supplies. This is assault, spiritual assault." Me, "Ma'am, I'm just trying to do my job. There's broken glass on the floor." Karen, "Then you should have thought about that before you brought your toxic energy into my space. I demand to speak to your manager." Me, "I can call him if you'd like." Karen, "Yes, call him. And don't you dare sweep another inch until he gets here." I radioed my manager while she stood there with her arms crossed, glaring at me like I'd committed some horrible crime. A small crowd had gathered now, people pretending to shop while obviously watching the drama unfold. My manager, Tom, showed up about 2 minutes later. He's a patient guy, but I could see he was already tired from the day. Manager, "Hello, ma'am. I'm the manager. What seems to be the problem?" Karen, "What's the problem?" "Your employee has been spiritually harassing me. He swept near me. His broom invaded my personal aura." Manager, "I see. Well, he's just trying to clean up some broken glass. It's a safety issue." Karen, "I don't care. He needs to respect my space. I have a right to shop in peace without being energetically violated." Manager, "Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to either move so he can finish cleaning, or you can shop in a different aisle until he's done." Karen, "Are you serious right now? You're taking his side. I'm a customer. I spend hundreds of dollars here every month." Manager, "And we appreciate your business, but we can't leave broken glass on the floor. Someone could get seriously injured." Karen, "Well, someone's going to get spiritually injured if he keeps assaulting me with his negative vibrations." She pulled out her phone and started recording. Karen, "I'm documenting this. This is discrimination against people who are energetically sensitive. You're all going to be sorry when my lawyer hears about this." My manager sighed and pulled out his radio. Manager, "Can I get security to aisle 3, please?" That's when she really lost it. Karen, "Security? You're calling security on me? I'm the victim here." 2 security guards arrived. Frank, the older one, looked at the scene and immediately understood what was happening. I could see him trying not to smile. Security guard, "Ma'am, we're going to have to ask you to leave the store." Karen, "For what?" Security guard, "For obstructing store operations and refusing to allow our employee to perform necessary safety maintenance." Karen, "This is insane. You can't kick me out for protecting my aura." Security guard, "Actually, ma'am, we can ask anyone to leave for any reason. And spiritual obstruction is a new one, but it counts. Let's go." Karen, "I'm calling corporate. I'm calling the news. Everyone's going to hear about this." They escorted her out while she continued yelling about energy fields and cosmic justice. The other customers actually applauded once she was gone. The elderly man who'd watched the whole thing even came up to me. Customer: "Son, I've been shopping here for 20 years, and that was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. You handled that with grace." Me: "Thank you, sir." I finished sweeping up the glass and mopping the floor. The whole thing had taken maybe 15 minutes total, though it felt like an hour. About a week later, my manager called me into his office. I was worried Karen had actually followed through on her threats, but Tom was grinning. Manager: "So, remember that lady from last week? The Aura one?" Me: "Hard to forget." Manager: "She did call corporate. Filed a whole complaint about spiritual harassment and energetic assault." Me: "Oh no." Manager: "Oh, don't worry. Corporate watched the security footage and dismissed it immediately. But they did send us a memo." He handed me a printed email. It was from corporate headquarters, and it basically said that while they respect all customers' beliefs and practices, employees performing necessary safety duties cannot be considered spiritual obstruction, and that the customer had been banned from all store locations for harassment. Manager: "You're in the clear. And honestly, this whole thing gave us the best break room story we've had in years. I still work at Greenfield Grocery. I still sweep floors and clean up spills, and every time I'm working in aisle 3, someone inevitably makes a joke about checking their aura before I get too close with my broom. The caution signs now feel like they should include a warning about spiritual hazards, but I guess broken glass is dangerous enough." Story 4. I've been bartending at this upscale downtown restaurant for about 5 years now. It's the kind of place where we take our craft seriously, but don't pretend we're curing diseases or anything. We make good drinks, we're friendly with customers, and most nights go by without any drama. I genuinely love what I do. There's something satisfying about mixing the perfect cocktail and seeing someone's face light up when they take that first sip. The restaurant itself has this modern but cozy vibe. We're known for our creative cocktail menu, and I've developed quite a few signature drinks that have become customer favorites. Our regulars are great. They appreciate the effort we put into presentation and taste, and they tip well. It's a good gig in a city where restaurant jobs can be hit or miss. Last Friday night, we were moderately busy. Not slammed, but steady enough to keep things interesting. Around 8 o'clock, this woman walked in with 2 friends, and they sat at the bar. I could tell immediately she was the type who'd be high maintenance, just by the way she scrutinized everything before even sitting down. But hey, I've dealt with plenty of demanding customers before. You just smile, do your job, and move on. I walked over with menus and gave them my usual greeting. Me: "Good evening, ladies. Can I start you off with some drinks?" Her friends seemed nice enough, ordering a glass of wine and a beer without any fuss. Then it was her turn. "Karen, I'll have your signature passion fruit martini, but I need it to be perfect. I'm very particular about my drinks." Me: "Absolutely. Our passion fruit martini is one of our most popular drinks. I'll make sure it's perfect for you." I went to work, making the drink exactly as I always do. Fresh passion fruit puree, premium vodka, a touch of vanilla syrup, fresh lime juice, shaken perfectly, and strained into a chilled martini glass. I garnished it with half a passion fruit on the rim, just like always. It looked beautiful, if I do say so myself. I placed it in front of her with a smile. Me: "1 passion fruit martini. Enjoy." She picked up the glass, examined it from every angle like she was inspecting a diamond, took a small sip, and then her face scrunched up. "Karen, this isn't right." Me: "What's wrong with it? Too strong? Too sweet?" Karen: "The ice." "What kind of ice did you use?" I was confused because there was no ice in the drink. It's a martini, served straight up. Me: "There's no ice in the drink itself. It's shaken with ice and then strained, so you get a cold drink without dilution." Karen: "No, I can see there was ice used in the making. I can tell by the temperature. Was it regular ice?" Me: "Yes, we use filtered water to make our ice. Standard cubes for shaking cocktails." She looked at me like I just told her I made the drink with swamp water. Karen, that's completely unacceptable. I need you to remake this with proper ice. You know, the clear aesthetic cubes like they use on social media. The ones that look like crystals. This drink doesn't have the right energy without proper ice. I blinked a few times, trying to process what I was hearing. Me, the ice is only used in the shaking process. It doesn't stay in the drink. The ice we use is perfectly clean and filtered. Karen, I don't think you understand. I've seen drinks on my feed that use those big, clear, designer ice cubes. They're so much better. They look amazing in photos. This drink needs to be made with that kind of ice. The aesthetic matters. Me, those clear ice cubes are typically used for drinks served on the rocks, like an old-fashioned or whiskey. Your martini is served without ice in the glass. The ice used for shaking doesn't affect the appearance of the final drink. Karen, I don't care about your technical excuses. I'm paying for this drink, and I want it made with designer ice. Remake it. Now. Her friends looked uncomfortable, one of them trying to quietly tell her the drink was fine. Me, I'm not remaking a perfectly good drink because you want me to use different ice that won't even be visible in the final product. The ice is strained out. You wouldn't see it anyway. Karen, this is ridiculous. Do you know how much money I spend on drinks like this? I deserve to have my drink made the way I want it. I want aesthetic ice. The kind that looks good on Instagram. How hard is that to understand? Me, pretty hard, actually, since you're asking for something that makes zero sense. The ice doesn't stay in the drink. She was getting louder now, and other customers were starting to look over. Karen, I want to speak to your manager. This is terrible service. You're being incredibly rude, and you're refusing to accommodate a simple request. Me, it's not a simple request. It's an impossible request. But sure, I'll get my manager. I walked to the back and found my manager dealing with a delivery. I explained the situation, trying not to laugh, while telling him about the designer ice demand. He shook his head, sighed, and followed me back to the bar. My manager talked to her for a few minutes, very politely explaining the same things I had. That the ice is strained out, that it doesn't affect the appearance or taste, that the drink was made correctly. She wasn't having it. She insisted the drink be remade with proper ice, and that she could feel the difference in the energy. My manager, bless him, finally told her that we couldn't accommodate her request because it was physically impossible to serve her a strained drink with ice that wasn't in it. She demanded a refund and said she'd never come back. He refunded her drink, which she hadn't paid for yet anyway, and she continued ranting. That's when I'd had enough. I grabbed an empty martini glass, held it up, and presented it to her with a flourish. Me, here you go. This one is made with the most exclusive ice of all. Completely invisible, zero dilution, absolutely perfect aesthetic. Instagram will love it. I placed the empty glass in front of her. She stared at it, then at me, her mouth hanging open. Karen, is that empty? Did you just give me an empty glass? Me, it's got the designer ice you wanted. You just can't see it because it's been strained out. Just like I've been trying to explain. Her face turned bright red. Karen, this is assault by sarcasm. You're mocking me. This is completely unprofessional. Me, it's not assault. It's a demonstration. You want something that doesn't exist in the final product. So here's the final product without the thing you can't see anyway. My manager was trying not to laugh. Her friends were actively trying to pull her away from the bar now. Karen, I'm reporting this to corporate. I'm leaving a review. Everyone will know about this. Me, we're independently owned. No corporate. And honestly, please do leave a review. I'd love to read it. She grabbed her purse and stormed out, her friends apologizing quietly as they followed. The other customers at the bar actually started clapping. One guy ordered a round for everyone sitting nearby and told me that was the funniest thing he'd seen in months. She did leave a review. A 1-star rant about how I assaulted her with sarcasm and refused to make her drink with proper ice. She included a photo of what designer ice cubes look like, for reference. The review actually brought in more customers because people thought it was hilarious. My manager printed it out and hung it in the back. We still laugh about it.